All right, hey everybody, and welcome to Chew Stream, where we talk about art and life as an artist. I'm your host. My name is Bobby Chiu. I'm an artist, and welcome. Today's stream is all about a portfolio review. The handsome gentleman just underneath me, that is Morgan, and Morgan has submitted his portfolio in. Awesome artist. And I see Addie has just joined as well. So Addie will be. Oh, there you are. Hi, Addie. Awesome. You guys are so punctual. This is fantastic. And I see Amelia has also joined. So welcome the three of you. Excellent. So today's portfolio, there was a lot of portfolios, by the way, so thank you everybody for submitting a portfolio. You could see this in YouTube, perhaps. Yeah, I think just on YouTube. It says hashtag Schoolism portfolio. If you upload your stuff for images, it'd be great to know a little bit about you as well. And hashtag is Schoolism portfolio. I'll try to find my favorites and go over them. Okay, so I picked a few, and the common thread here between this, oh, that's beautiful, this one, and I believe this one, it all deals with fur or hair today. I thought that'd be fun, and connect all of these things together, starting off with this one, which is obviously completely different, right? Addie, this one is more of like something that you might see on television instead of like an illustration, obviously, like Magic the Gathering or something like that. So, initial thoughts, okay? And of course, it's just my opinion. Art, there are no rules, really, and this is for everybody. Whenever you get a critique, think about it. Does it make sense to you? If it doesn't, it's okay to reject it, right? The worst thing is to go the wrong direction at full speed. So, take it with a grain of salt. And then if it does make sense to you, Addie, you owe it to yourself to really get on it and really work on it to really benefit from this critique. Okay, so some of the things that I was looking at here is this swirly thing on the little guy's forehead. I was like thinking, if you kind of squint your eyes, a bunch of it disappears, which kind of concerns me a little bit. And also, if you're colorblind, probably some of it would disappear. This stuff here reads quite well, right? So it's values read the best. When you think about it, you see somebody from really far away, what do you notice? You don't notice the, little colors as much as the general shape of the person, because the person is most likely a different value than everything behind that person, right? So now when we look at this and we go, okay, well, what are the values that we see here? It gets kind of confusing. You know what I mean? That's just my little observation here. But if we say we did some grouping, so where would the grouping be? The grouping could either be kind of like separating the darks versus the lights. Okay, so I'm just going to tone this down a bit so we can do both darks and lights. And what do we mean by this? For example, this is a nice bright thing, this is a nice bright thing. So then with this, what would happen? Well, if this is kind of like in front of this guy, right? Depending on how much you want to bring in that light. And sometimes, if you're not used to painting as much, and really I'm not trying to paint, I'm trying to do almost like solid, maybe I should just do solid tones, because yours is not about a painting. It's about line art, which is great, so I want to respect that. I try to look at everybody's artwork and I try to think about it in a way where it's like, not really like, okay, here's my style, but instead, you know why the Schoolism and the Imaginism Studios logos are chameleon? Because I like to think about like conforming to somebody's art, right? Conforming to their style, being able to shift my style all over the place. That was why we called it, or had the chameleon as our logo. And I love creatures. We love creatures, so it made sense. Okay, so there's, one light source, right? And then we have another light source, and then you're probably thinking, oh shoot, this is getting really messy, which I totally agree. When you have two light sources, the same intensity, it gets very messy very quickly and doesn't look too hot. So the idea here is actually to think about which light source is the strongest, and let everything else kind of be dictated by the strength of that strongest light. So every other light needs to be dimmer, right? When you look at it like this, it's still very confusing, but at least you're starting to get more of a sense of the separation between the light and the shadow. Now this I hesitate to mark down. I know you marked it down, so I kind of wanted to like mark it down as well. I don't want to do this because the thickness of the side of the leaf, it's like nothing. It's not worth kind of hitting up. However, if this leaf is in front of this orb, and say this orb is like, well, it doesn't have to be a color, but I'm just going to give it a cool color. Just make it more interesting here. Right? And then if this is probably a slightly different green, right? If it's like this kind of a green, this light is shining through. This leaf is very thin, just like we said. And if we take this and we take this and we go a little bit in between, then we could have some nice, if you're going, that's really small, Bobby, I can't see it. Good, because I can't see it either, and you're getting the same experience as me. A lot of times it's like, draw that little thumbnail and you're able to concentrate on the entire image all at once, so much more. When you zoom in, you start to zoom in your attention, right? So it could be just like subsurface scattering, and it's shining through. And then this one might shine through as well, except it's gonna probably just only shine through there, if anything, because you got this other leaf, between this top leaf and the orb. Okay, so there's that. I also took some time and, well, actually, before I go on to the revision I did before the stream, the other way to separate this is that you have all of these nice elements of different tones, right? If these tones were just a bit more thought about in terms of like, okay, I'm trying to create some good amount of separation here, that might change a lot of stuff. So for example, this, sure, let's start off with the skin. So the skin that has a tone, great. This patch, great. It's nice and dark. Then maybe you had, some lips here, whatever. This is obviously, it's brighter. But you see how close it is to this tone? That's what I want to change. So it's either I can make this brighter, this darker, or both, or vice versa. But just to amplify the kind of contrast here. because we have this tone here that's darker, you know, if I made this dark, it will start to get closer to this tone. So let's not do that. Instead, we don't have to go 100% opacity, like this is 93. We could bump it up to like 96 if you want. Or what I kind of feel is I feel like you should bump it up all the way, and then instead you would have shadows instead of these two-tone light accents. Does that make sense? So you just have these two-tone, the second tone, like all these light areas, instead of putting the light areas, we'd go after the dark areas, and that would be the second tone. The other thing here is I wasn't sure where this kind of came from, because you could see that this person has hair. So at first I was like, maybe this is hair. So Addie, maybe you could shine some light on this. Where's this white stuff coming from? Oh, I can't hear you. You might want to check your sound input. Okay, but you can see like it's starting to separate from this guy. Yeah, if you do get your sound, just go ahead and say something. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. Right, we tone this down a bit, and it starts to separate so much more. That was the big thing for me. These things here, they could get darker. Right? Could totally still put the light back in, I would. But I just want to focus in on the task at hand, which is to create, to mess around with the general tones of this thing to help separate it, to make more clarity, you know? So see it even more like this. Everything starts to merge all together up at the top here, and then slow separation. Okay, also, the people that are submitting stuff today, that I'm going to be reviewing today, I should say, I'll get somebody to send you the PSDs as well, okay? So you can keep those. Now, this is what I ended up doing for the draw over. Right, so my attempt here is to keep the same everything, the same proportions, the same idea, but just tweak some things. Oops, not that. There we go. Okay, let's dive in here just a little closer. So this is very much about line art, right? I did notice that there were some small inconsistencies with symmetry. So I would just be, a little bit more aware of that. What I did for a lot of this stuff was I would just, like the ear, and just grab it. Copy, paste, transform, horizontal flip. Line it up, move it over, see if I want to tweak anything. But at least I have something completely symmetrical to start off with before I tweak stuff. Okay, the other thing here is, this part's interesting. I thought this is a good, interesting kind of thing to talk about for everybody. So when I look at this eye, I'm thinking to myself, what does the artist want to do here? What does Addie want to do here? She wants to make a big eye, right? A big eye for this character, that makes sense. It looks adorable, and it's got a big eye patch. Great. Is this a big nose or is it a small nose? Kind of feel like it's medium nose. Is this mouth a big nose or small, or big mouth or small mouth? I would probably say my best guess is that Addie, you're going for a small mouth here. Were you able to look at your audio settings? No? Oh, okay. No problem. Okay. Somebody was asking, I don't think you have this vocally, or so people can just chime in. Correct. Right now, it's just the panelists that can chime in, but I will open it up to the attendees as well. If you can imagine 40 people and anybody can chime in, it can get a little crazy. Okay, so that's the idea here. Big eyes, medium to small nose, and then a small mouth. That's what I got from this design. However, is it a small, medium kind of nose? I don't know. It feels like it wants to be, but it isn't clear. Same with the mouth. Is the mouth... I feel like that's much closer to like, yeah, that's a small mouth. But I just felt like it could be pushed even more. Right? And so that's how I ended up with this. The eyes here, the reason I chose to change the eyes is because this eyelid doesn't really work. Right? This top eyelid, it starts from here. Let's see here. So this top eyelid, if I look at your drawing, Addie, it feels like this is where your top eyelid starts. Awesome. Somebody just joined in. Great. And then, oh, crazy. There's two Addies. That does work. That's crazy. How are you in two places at the same time? Oh, you got different... Oh, I see. I was tripping out. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I was like, what is going on? There's like a clone in there. That was awesome. Okay, so where are you from, Addie? Fantastic. Okay, well, welcome. So what I was saying about this eye is that when you look at the drawing, right, we're always trying to look at these drawings like, what is the person trying to say here? Does it match what they're trying to say? These big eyes here, it says like, right now, the top eyelid starts at this point right here. Right? The bottom eyelid starts to happen starting from that point. Where does it happen from this side? Maybe here? Not sure. Right? That starts to look like a weird bottom eyelid all of a sudden. And so that's why I did this, evened it out a bit. Okay, and then the nose, I was like, small, medium nose. Okay, I'll give her a small to medium nose. And then the mouth, small mouth, because that's what it kind of felt like was the objective. Then we want to, you know, if you can imagine this eye and then the eye area just underneath it, and then after the eye area, we go into the cheek. Once we start to kind of look for that eye area and the cheek area, the cheek starts to feel quite flat. It doesn't have as much volume anymore. Curled it out, you know, brought this eye in a little bit, gave a bit more space for a nice cheek in an eye, bottom eye area would be here, and then the cheek. Okay. And I'll give you this file as well, Addie. Okay, you're very welcome. Thank you for submitting your stuff. All right, next one here. This one, is this one Morgan's? I forget. Oh, no, sorry. This isn't yours, Morgan. I asked you about this. Is this one Amelia's? Oh, okay, awesome. Where are you calling from? Oh, okay. Must be real dark in Pittsburgh. No, that's cool. Whatever you want to do, whatever's comfortable for you. But okay, awesome. Good to see you. Okay, well, holy smokes, Amelia, can I first kind of like show some of your art? Me and Morgan and I were actually just drooling over your stuff this morning. So adorable. Oh yeah. Let's gush over this a little bit more. What I really love about these is the feeling, the emotional impact, especially of this. Oh my God, I just want to curl up with the fox in his hole and just chill out and just, that's the rest of my day. Eating bugs that come through. Oh, it's so good. So, emotional impact, everybody. That's what we can definitely take from these beautiful ideas. This one, another incredible idea. You see these cool little bugs. I know exactly what kind of bugs these are. Come out at night, and whenever I go fishing. Um, so this guy is like, I'm not sure what they're doing, but it looks super cool and it looks kind of magical. Both of these, fantastic. I figured I would go with this one because there's a lot going on. It's very complex. But I love both of them. Both of them are absolutely fantastic. Yeah, and of course, I'm assuming you're a professional, yeah? Or you just graduated high school. Sorry, what was that? What was that? Oh my God, Amelia, your stuff is friggin' fantastic. Your stuff is fantastic for especially just graduating high school. Like, yeah. Okay. I want to. The first advice I gave to never take anybody's advice without thinking it over, thinking if it makes sense to you. Oh, sorry, um, everybody on YouTube. Uh, okay, so now we can hear Amelia. Amelia has just graduated from high school. That's what she was saying. Okay, and Amelia, can you speak and let me just make sure the audio is working?
Does this work?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, one of the best things I ever kind of just adopted was the idea where I will listen to everybody objectively. If it doesn't make sense to me, Prashan, yeah, we can't hear any of the attendees because if we let all 35 attendees have microphones, it gets crazy. Okay, I just texted like 4 times. Um, okay, so think about everything that your teachers will tell you, your college teachers will tell you. See if it makes sense to you. Things that I was taught that ended up not making sense was things like, how do you charge? Well, you think about how long this painting will take, how much you'd want to get paid per hour, how many revisions, and then times it by the rate that you want, and that's the price that you would give. So if it's you want to work $25 an hour, $30, whatever, $100 an hour, times it by 8 hours or however many hours, and then you give them a quote. That was the wrong way to do things. I could tell you from an artist point of view, an employer point of view, it's the wrong way. The best way is to actually think about what that person's budget is. And if you really want the job, knock 10% off of that and then tell them. If you are fine not having the job and you could really care less, then you could bump up that price, 10, 20%, right? Because some things are, people will benefit more than other things. And some things like charities, are you going to really charge your full price, for a good reason? No. Okay, so I digress. That's my little rant about quoting. So the thing about this painting, I love it. The lighting is strange. You can see where the lighting is coming from because you can see the moon. So that's why I first toned this down with local colors. Okay, local colors. And then after that, what I did was I just went to my hue and saturation. Okay, I have a little window here for this layer mask. And if you have any questions, Amelia, just feel free to ask, or any of you guys.
Yeah.
I will cut out, I'll cut out a little square here. So when I adjust my adjustment layer, I can see the original as well. Okay, what I'm looking at here is actually, I just want this part to change. What I'm looking at here is I want to bring in some fur that feels like a dark version in this lighting setup. Right? It's right there, less saturated, and much darker. Okay, I'm going to actually tone down the opacity on this so that a bunch of the color comes back. So I'm going to compensate for that by making it even darker, slightly more saturated. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So here comes the fun part, because this is the adjustment layer. I put in the local colors back in, and then wherever I paint in, on this semi-opaque layer, I will get the nighttime version of this color. Super simple, everybody can do this. And now you're kind of changing the lighting scheme here. Right, and just did it quickly. I'll show you how sloppy this looks. Right, I kept this because of the subsurface scattering. I was like, I think we could get away with it. The exposure in this image feels like you're actually letting in a lot of light because there's hardly any light around. And then the light from the moon can get nice and bright. Okay. I love the little magical sparkles there, but I was like thinking, is it clear enough that it is totally magic coming out of this creature? So I just added more. Okay, and I made sure that these splatters are not soft at all, but very distinct. Right? They all have hard edges. Okay, so no matter what, we have to take into consideration where the light is coming from at all times. Otherwise, say this is for a movie, they would be like, what are we supposed to do in the scene? Where is this light coming from? So again, before, amazing job. And that's my little paint over. Okay? And this one, love. I just love it. I can't believe you're in high school, Amelia. Good for you. Good for you for taking art so seriously. Keep in touch. You're good. You're really good. Okay, Morgan, another amazing artist. Holy smokes. So Morgan, where are you from? Oh, shoot. Can't hear you. Weird. Um, it's weird. I could hear you before. Yeah, it's not coming through. Oh, something. I heard. No. Sorry. Weird. Yeah, it doesn't look like your mic is muted. Maybe it's actually
Hear me
physically.
now?
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Cool. So I remove this. And yeah, so I'm from France and I'm based in Montreal.
Oh, wonderful. Awesome. Fellow person in Canada. So here are your images. So cool. And I'm assuming you're professional. Did you just graduate high school too? I'm
No,
gonna
no, I'm
quit
not
my
just
job.
graduated. No, I'm not. I'm this dev artist for animation and feature movies and video game.
Fantastic. Yeah, it definitely looks professional. Okay, so some things here. This one I would actually, I love it. Technically, it's wonderful. The lighting, though, I would have switched it around. I would have made this lighting coming in from the side dimmer,
Mm.
right? And this lighting coming up stronger,
Yeah,
right? Because that's the focus. That's where he's looking at.
yeah, exactly.
Um, and does this light affect this flag? That was the other thing. There could be parts, it could be interesting to maybe we're seeing the dark side of the flag, so you would have light coming through the flag. That would be cool. This one here, I felt like just like the atmosphere in the back here all of a sudden almost completely disappears when we get to her, and these guys don't feel that far away. That was my
Hmm.
like little comment about that. Okay. This one, the shirt would be the thing that I'd want to clarify more, because the shapes will distort the shirt, so the shirt will feel less like a shirt. So it becomes even more important that people will still read it as a shirt. Like, how do we
Oh yeah.
kind of do that, you know? And then, you know, whatever, buttons. But let's get to this one. This was the one that I felt connected with me the most. Emotional, again. Beautiful and emotional, wonderful. Um, Here's the things that I was thinking I would like to address. So one is, I love the use of the patches of light, right? It tells about the environment as well, where she is. The light hits over here a bit, but doesn't really go into the background. Let's go over some of the stuff I did. So first was this thing in the hair. You know, by doing this, it just creates a more solid shape for that hair, more readable, especially when it's like, you know, if you're looking at this in a movie, you'd be like, what is that? Okay, I get it. You know what I mean? Okay.
Okay. There you go.
The arm and the shirt, just letting a little bit of that light hit that shirt again. The arm got really confusing, so I just simplified it, put into shadow. I like the idea that you have here where there wasn't that much light hitting this arm. I thought that was interesting, so I just wanted to keep to that and eliminate the direct light altogether, right? And then the ground and her back, because obviously there's light still coming down. Where does it go onto the shirt? Okay, so when we look at it from far away, Morgan, we get this.
It's more readable. Yeah.
Yeah. And you create a little stage for the little guy. right. Um, yeah, so this was really fun. Amazing artwork by all of you guys. And I'll be sending you the PSD files. Look out for emails from info@schoolism. And now, my lovely attendees, anybody want to show their stuff? Raise your hand if you'd like a microphone. And awesome. So, allowed to talk. April, great. Anastasia, okay. Let's just do 2 right now.
Hello there.
Hello. Who are we talking to here?
It's Anastasia, Nastya.
Excellent. Where are you from, Anastasia?
I am from Ukraine, from Kiev, and I am a lead character artist.
Fantastic, fantastic. I think I might have a little. Oh, I don't have a little chat here, but okay. So, I guess I just look up your name.
Okay, it's Rainmorn. I can send you the link. I've
Just spell it out. I'll type it in right
okay. Rain, like rain, just
Okay.
a Rainmorn.
now. Rain born.
Rainy morning, just shouting.
Sorry, the audio is a little funky. Boring?
No, a rain.
Okay, A, rain,
Yes, M-O-R-N.
M-O-N. M-O...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. This is you.
Yeah, they could be lower my art station.
Art Station. Great.
Yes.
Fantastic. Wow.
Oh, thank you so much.
Lovely. Okay, so what do you do?
Oh, okay. I'm working at a mobile game company.
Okay.
And I create, well, it's not that I make illustration in-game, but it's illustration for social medias, like for Instagram, Facebook, and else.
Perfect.
And yes, my personal stuff.
Perfect. Well,
Oh,
wonderful work. That's number
Oh,
one. Okay, so I just grabbed the very first one I found.
oh my gosh, I'm so happy because I'm watching you since, oh my gosh, 2017 year, and all
Okay.
these
Great.
3 years I dreamed having you watching my portfolio.
Well, yeah, so, okay, this image right, okay, first, anybody, this is why I always have a secondary screen. The secondary screen shows me what this thing looks like from far away. Or as a whole, I should say. As a whole, far away, same thing. And so I always open up a secondary window.
Okay.
Why don't I keep this window here and then I'll have the little window. And when I look at this smaller window especially, I feel like the background and the animation are a little too separated. The colors are very saturated on the character, or far more saturated than the background. The background, I love the feeling in the background. I feel like maybe looking at the context of this image now, I'm like, yeah, maybe that was the point, right? Like it's some
Yes.
weird alternate dimension, like VR or something.
No, it's just a really dramatic moment for the character. She's from my upcoming sci-fi novel.
Nice. Okay, well, the reason I said that was because of all these static accents here.
Oh, yes.
So when we look at the static accents and we don't see them on the character we go, okay, well, what's this artist trying to say? That's
Mhm.
what I'm trying to think right now. So that's why I was like, maybe this is like an alternate universe. And
Okay.
if it was, I would make it even more so because it doesn't
Mhm.
connect with me just yet. I would maybe put some like glowing little letters like the Matrix or whatever, or like static where it starts glowing in the darkness so we just notice it a lot more. Okay, now that I know it's not that, this is not a VR kind of alternate universe or whatever, holographic something, then what I would do is I would tone down this person's colors a bit, actually, or bump up all the colors behind her.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
just so they
Yes.
all merge, they get closer together. So we could either make everything more, so ignore this character but look at the background. We could make the background like this, which I think could be very cool, or we
Mhm.
could just look at the character, don't think about the background, or we could do that and make it more dramatic, right? Because
Oh,
it's like less saturated.
Okay.
Which one?
I think it's better to be more dramatic, as well, in this particular scene,
No
main
problem.
character is just, well, wrecked with reality.
No problem. So we're gonna uh, inverse my layer mask. It's all black now.
Mhm.
Let's grab a little sloppy lasso tool. Right? And then if I just delete, did you feel that?
Yes.
Right? It starts to feel like it's merging with the image more.
Oh, well, yes, but I was just afraid that she would disappear in the background.
Then it's totally up to you. It's just when it's like this, she feels separate from this other universe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it was a point, but okay.
Hey, and like I said, if it doesn't make sense to you, feel free to reject it. Feel free to reject it. That was just like my observations.
Okay,
Cool?
okay. Yeah, be cool.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, well, yeah, and we're going to take some questions as well. So thank you so much, Anastasia. Uh, so one of the first questions that's in Zoom here is how to learn Terrell Whitlatch's creature anatomy class. I found it too hard to study about all of creature's anatomy. Um, yeah, so the creature anatomy course with Terrell Whitlatch, it's intense. I could tell you, for a professional, it's intense. But you get through it and you come out a completely different person, because it just beats the anatomy into your skull. It's great, and you learn all these different types of anatomy with all these different types of species, and then you start to see the connections, which is great. Okay, so yeah, and this one is Neil. Neil, I don't think you have it set up so others can vocally chime in, which is fine. But okay, so yeah, Neil, if you want to get the mic, just let me know. I'm gonna. Okay, so I had April. She had her hand up second, since I went to Anastasia already. April, are you there? While you're trying to unmute your mic, why don't we go to Neil? Okay, Neil just says,
Can you hear me?
"Hey, April, how's it going?"
Good, how are you?
Great. Where are you from?
La Mirada, California.
Awesome. Welcome. Um, did you have a question? Do you have a portfolio?
I only have an Instagram.
Whatever you like to do. If you just have a question, that's totally cool too.
Do you mind looking at some of my art
Of course
and
not.
just critiquing?
Be my pleasure. So, do I look up your name?
If you go to Instagram, it's aprilshin.illo, ILLO.
Okay, let's
Like,
just go to Instagram instead. April Illo.
April Shin,
Oh,
SHIN.
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Shin Illo.
Yeah,
This
that one.
Okay, great. Oh, adorable. Oh, that's great. Wow, you have some nice ideas here. And
It's
really,
really
like,
cute.
ideas, that's the
Thank
hardest
you.
thing. That's the hardest thing. Like, how do you teach somebody how to come up with great ideas? You can, I feel, but it is difficult. That's hilarious. Okay, so what do you do, April?
I am just learning art right now.
Okay, that's fantastic. It looks like, to me, children's book illustrations, that kind of thing.
That is my goal, yes.
Awesome. Okay. I always felt like children's book illustrations, you want to hone in on a style more. Get that
Mm-hmm.
one established, get work out of that style before you move on to another style. Especially with children's book illustration, because when you think about it, like, think about think about your favorite children's book illustrators, right? How many styles do they have? Do they do for their children's books? It's generally like one.
Yeah.
So that would be the first and probably biggest thing about uh, this page here. It's really beautiful ideas though. So you really got that down. And are these traditional or are they digital, made to look kind of traditionally?
Yeah, they're all digital.
Awesome. Yeah. I feel like that's what I would really do, is concentrate on great storytelling ideas. These four kind of connect with me the most.
Okay.
Um, and for storytelling ideas, you want to make sure that it's going to be interesting too. You know, if it doesn't really hit the mark for you, keep going. Especially if you're just starting off, there's far more traction in like being more selective in what you post
Mm-hmm.
than posting consistently at this point, I feel. Because if you just concentrate on posting consistently, it's going to be all sorts of different styles, and it won't feel as much like a professional children's illustrator to me. To me, you know, it might to others.
Okay. That makes sense.
Cool. Well, wonderful work. Everybody go follow April.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. And so, okay, next person on here, Edwin.
Hey, Roy.
Hey, Edwin.
Hey, how are you doing?
Great. Do you guys have any, or do you have any questions or anything, or
I will like if you can check my
portfolio?
work.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, let's do it. Oh, snap. Okay. I thought I just deleted her paint over because I was going to try to send this to Anastasia.
Art station.
Oh, yeah, sorry, never mind. I'm just
Yeah.
talking to myself. Okay, so let's go. Let's check out your ArtStation. Is it? I just look up your name on ArtStation.
No, you put E Lozano
Um,
681.
oh, okay. Lozano 681. Like that?
With E in front.
Oh, okay. Come on, buddy. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay, awesome. Cool. So you're in Ecuador.
Yeah,
How do you pronounce that city? Quito?
Quito.
Quito. My friend lives there, in that city, actually. He teaches
Which
art
one?
there.
Maybe I know him.
I didn't want to assume, because people are like, "Hey, you're from Toronto. You know Drake?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I know Drake." No, I don't. But his name is Alberto Ruiz. He teaches art there. He has a art bookstore, I believe. But I knew him from going to Comic Cons and such. Okay, cool. I'll let you pick. I can't really decide on which one to kind of choose here. Or anybody
Maybe
from the
that one.
audience. What? What's that?
Maybe that one from Frankenstein. I did a redo, a
This one.
redesign of some things.
Is it this one? I Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's.
Also, I want to make a question.
Yeah, sure.
I like to design. I really just beginning with this art seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to design and make some of these images, but I'm not quite sure how to apply or where I go to get jobs because or make something because I think I'm just in the beginning or I don't have the quality that's needed.
I feel like you definitely can get there. Okay? But yeah, I feel like the quality is probably the issue right now. If you're on Schoolism, I know the perfect class, and that would be Painting with Light and Color with Daisu Satsumi, Robert Kondo, the Tonko House class. Because lighting is like so much their thing. So let's talk about this painting a little bit. Where is my focus? Where do you think the focus is? Right? Let's start off with that one. Where do you think the focus is? I'm just gonna say rhetorical questions and answer them myself, okay? Just so things go a little faster. But what I feel the focus is, everybody, right? It's gonna bounce over here, it might bounce over here, and then it comes back to here, and it's this conversation. Right, so then I would think, okay, well, where is, okay. Right, I would start to light her up. Right, and when we look at the smaller window, especially if you can't see it right now, then you can be like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get what he's doing here. These are just crude, just to be nice and simplified and be able to keep going. She looks important. Maybe she should be important. Boom. Fancy robe, right? Everybody got the shitty brown, gray robes. She's fancy. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking at what I am getting from this image here. Okay, and then of course these guys are important too. You see how close they are to the background? They almost disappear.
Yeah.
Right, we just hit them up a little bit. Of course, I wouldn't use that color there, but just for speed. And now we're starting to put in the tension all around here.
See it.
Then I would think about what to do with these candles. I feel like these candles are getting distracting as well, and there's not really that much point to have these candles unless we're gonna light up something right here, you know? Maybe it's a portrait of this crazy, or I don't know if she's crazy. I shouldn't assume. Maybe it's her. And it just amplifies that, like, importance of her. I don't know. But this is hopefully the thought process is going to help you. Like, these are all the things I'm thinking about as I'm looking at this. Another thing I'm thinking about is the perspective here. You see where her feet stop?
Mm-hmm.
You see these stairs? You see how big these guys get? So it's like, how far are these stairs? I don't really feel like they're that far. And it's really like she's gigantic. So we need to change the perspective of the ground, perhaps. And that would probably be the easiest thing. Now, the reason that I feel like it's not that far away, it's like these lines right here, these lines right here, they aren't as, the perspective is a little off, I would think. So here, let me just show you. Okay, this is how, when you're already finished a painting, how you can go over it again and add more. It's just by toning things down half the time. What we need here is just more horizontal, much more horizontal marks. You know, keep them all like flatter. Like her shadow from this shoe would probably just go like this. That's it. If we want to push everything to like match. If we want to give it proper perspective, I would think. You know, she's further away. Also, there's a lot of light coming down. Enough to light her up, so we would want to probably address that on the ground. And then the shadow with the character. They're practically lines. And that's how we're going to fix this perspective here.
Okay.
Then it goes back into space. Take this thing here. And again, it just horizontal lines. I'm going to let it fade a lot quicker. Let it fan out a lot more. You know, and just let it die out very quickly. And then this light. Just putting a little atmosphere there. Okay. That atmosphere looks really bad. Okay, you know what? Let's tone the whole entire thing down a touch. I'm just gonna try something. So the light is coming, even without the paint over, it definitely feels like the light is coming from the upper right hand side in the other room. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna cast a shadow here. You see these stairs, they look so flat. Let's figure a way. Figure a way to bring those stairs into some more like perspective. And you see these little highlights here, I would just eliminate them going this direction, creating like the lighting is coming in.
Okay.
On this angle, creating a bit of a shadow. Just some quick marks to indicate my little notes here. But you can see if you amplify this, and all of a sudden you get this kind of a thing. Right? And then it starts to feel like light is coming through. You know what I mean? And then this line starts to guide the eye towards our character again. I would think that there's, every time I look, I'll see more stuff. So I'm just gonna stop there. But the idea here that we can all take away from this is when we're looking at something, we're looking at, especially something like this, what's the story? You know, like where am I supposed to be looking first, second, third? When you tell a story in the wrong order, it no longer becomes a good story. So that becomes important. And then we, as the artists, we make excuses of why people should look here first, there second, and so on and so forth. And I'm just using kind of like the elements that you've given me in this image to make excuses for it. So I looked up here, I go, okay, yeah, there's a chandelier there, I could light her face up. That kind of thing. Cool?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's nice work. I think, you know, you have some real good potential, for sure.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, it's 11:03, 3 minutes past the time allotted. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for being brave enough to hand in your stuff and, you know, expose to the world.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
My pleasure.
Thank you to
My
you, Bobby.
pleasure.
It's a great opportunity for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, everybody. Everybody on YouTube, thank you for tuning in, and have a wonderful day.
Okay, bye.